I'm Eli Beckman, and I'm the mayor of Corte Madera, California. I've served my hometown since 2018. I was elected at the age of 25, and it's the greatest privilege and honor of my life to be serving my community. So the way that it works in Marin County is we are served by a constellation of different waste haulers. We have one main composting processing facility in Marin County, which is WM Earth Care in Novato. So our haulers bring compost material from across the county up to WM Earth Care. They process the compost into certified organic compost and then sell it. So what we do is we work in developing our regulations. We work in partnership with both our haulers and WM Earth Care to try and align what we're telling our residents with what works for them. The composting business there has been in place. God, I remember when composting first came to Marin County and I was a little kid. And I remember when we first got our green can and it was super exciting. And one of the main things that I remember is we used to, our family every week, our trash can would be overflowing. This was before composting, before recycling. We could barely in a week fit all of our family's trash in the trash can. Fast forward to, today, and we've got the trash can, we've got our two recycling bins, paper and containers, and we've got our compost bin. Our trash output in a week is less than one paper grocery bag. The trash can is like virtually empty every week. The green bin is usually chock full and the recycling bins are usually pretty full too. So it's been really incredible to see firsthand how much of an impact we've had on waste diversion with this local composting program. This program started before my time, but it's incredible to see that the impact is continuing. And I think our challenge today is really to take it to the next step and help address, long-term questions around regulatory issues for compost, continuing on our waste diversion goals, continuing to make sure that we've got a sustainable composting stream, sustainable both environmentally and financially for our composter. The main challenge that we're having, and what I was here to discuss today, is around trying to sort of eke out further gains, incremental gains in waste diversion, and trying to reduce single-use plastics, especially, end single-use plastic waste. That's one of our top goals. So what we're looking at is, okay, there's use cases where a lot of times, natural fiber products aren't going to cut it. If you've got like a hot liquid, a hot tea or a hot soup or something, you can't put that in a paper cup or a paper bowl. It's just going to melt right through. And that's really been a tough nut to crack. And that's where we've seen food service businesses continuing to use petroplastic products. And we're saying, okay, we want to get away from that. We want to cut the oil industry out of our foodware. Where do we turn to if it's not going to be natural fiber? And that's where compostable plastics has really come into play. The challenge there is that our local compost processor, because they are certified organic, cannot openly accept compostable plastics. And frankly, that's a regulatory issue that's bigger than Corte Madera, bigger than Marin County. That's a state and federal issue. And I think that our goal now has to be working as a partner with state and federal leaders to help modernize those regulations so that we can use compostable plastics as a bridge that's going to allow us to pivot away from petroplastics until there are new natural fiber products on the market that can handle those use cases where right now natural fiber just isn't cutting it. Local businesses and residents have been really fantastic, outstanding partners, frankly, in this effort, and I really appreciate it. At the same time, we go to bat for our local businesses and our local residents. The County of Marin adopted a reusable foodware ordinance that they asked us to adopt in Corte Madera as well, which creates an exemption. It requires natural fiber single-use foodware for takeout, but it allows an exemption for any products where you can't use natural fiber. So again, that's, hot liquids. And we said, first of all, that's just going to create a crazy regulatory scheme for businesses to have to adapt to, right? The County of Marin maintains both a list of exemptions and a list of sort of recommended or required products. They're constantly scanning the market for new natural fiber products that come onto market so they can reduce, take items off the exempt list and add new items on the recommended purchase list. They do that every year. They go around, to businesses every year and present essentially a new set of regulations every year. And it's just, it's a crazy environment, I think, to ask businesses to try and contend with. So part of our goal in developing Corte Madera's unique reusable foodware ordinance, which requires natural fiber where available, but requires certified compostable plastics where natural fiber is not available. Part of that goal was we don't want to be having this exempt list, this purchase list, these regulations that are constantly updated. We're coming back to businesses every year, telling them, hey, this stuff that you stocked last year because it was compliant then is no longer compliant. We wanted a simple set of rules with no changes that everyone could understand and everyone could follow. Businesses have been really appreciative of that effort, and I think that's part of why they've been such willing and cooperative partners in phasing in this new ordinance. We just adopted our reusable foodware ordinance in July. It came into effect in July, so less than 2 months ago. So it's too early, I think, to be able to have a measurable impact. But what we know is that in addition to trying to reduce the amount of single-use foodware that's going into the waste stream, which we did through our ordinance by requiring reusable foodware when customers dine in at restaurants, in addition to reducing the volume of waste, we also want to make sure that foodware that's going into our waste stream has the lowest embodied carbon, the lowest environmental impact, the lowest public health impact possible. And we know with certainty that that means we need to be using compostable plastics over petroplastics, at least until there's a better option for us on the market. I would say that one thing that really defines Corte Madera's approach here, again, the county came to all of the cities in Marin after they adopted their reusable foodware ordinance and said, we'd like you to adopt an identical ordinance, so we have one set of rules throughout all of Marin County, which makes perfect sense. It's a totally laudable goal, right? You want something that's going to be simple and consistent for businesses and consumers and enforcement agencies to understand, but not at the cost of doing it right. So I think one takeaway that we had is, we would have appreciated if the county had reached out earlier in the development of their reusable foodware ordinance, so that we were able to be, a stakeholder, a voice at the table in advocating for phasing out petroplastics from the waste stream. That didn't happen, and I think, frankly, the fact that Corte Madera was willing to take a critical approach to what the county presented us and do what we could to improve on it further, I think is an important thing for cities to consider. I think the other big takeaway is just that, we should not under any circumstances be pretending that Corte Madera's ordinance even solves all the problems. The county's ordinance certainly doesn't, but neither does Corte Madera's. It's better, but there's still unaddressed regulatory issues that really need to be dealt with at the state and federal levels. And it's going to fall on all of us to be partners and make our voices heard in modernizing these regulations so that composters can confidently accept compostable plastics. My biggest hope is, I would love to see us move towards, again, I think that the top goal here, first of all, the top goal, phasing out big oil from, our waste stream. That's the key, and we've really done that. Corte Madera is now the only city in Marin County where petroplastics are banned in foodware under all circumstances, and I'm incredibly proud of that. But I think, the next move, great, you've cut out big oil, wonderful. What's next? It's really trying to refine the products that we do allow, to get to a place where we have the lowest environmental impact, the lowest public health impact. I think that really means the lowest embodied carbon, the lowest energy going into production, and it means, the least harmful chemicals synthetic chemicals embodied in these materials that you're using. Obviously, material science is an art and a science. It's not my expertise, but I'm thrilled and fascinated to see the development in that industry. And I'm just excited for, the materials that are going to come on the market that we can't even think of today. When we adopted our reusable foodware ordinance that uses compostable plastics instead of petroplastics, we really did that as a bridge with the hope and the expectation that in 4 or 5 years, right, when there's new natural fiber products on the market that maybe can handle hot liquids, it's going to be a moot point and we'll be able to phase out all kinds of plastics, compostable or not, and just be using natural fiber. I think that's where we're hoping to get to, and that's the future that I'm really excited about. Corte Madera is, thanks to our reusable foodware ordinance, the only city in Marin County where petroplastics are banned in foodware under all circumstances, and I think that's a huge achievement.